Hello, this is Jermaine Fox, and this is my breakthrough story.
Hello, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Breakthrough series. In this episode, we're taking a look at the life of Jermaine Fox, an incredible realtor and owner of Mission Insurance. Jermaine shares many moments and challenges that he had to overcome in his early childhood, his early teens, and even later on in his life when he went to choose a career. You will find so many incredible things to learn from, important lessons that you can apply to your life today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, so this interview to me was very refreshing and helped me think back to how many people I've helped and how I can help other people, because it's all about reach. And I know this is going to get out to people and they're going to share it and they're going to share it with other people. Without even realizing, I know it's going to touch somebody. Maybe they take an idea or two and use it, and that'll help catapult them to where they need to be. Because life is pretty much, if you ain't helping someone else, I mean, what's the point? So stuff like this is also branding to get your name out there, marketing. That's what real estate is. Marketing and customer service.
Well, Jermaine, thank you so much for joining me here today on the Breakthrough series. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Anything I can do.
Of course. So before we get into why you're one of the coolest realtors I know with an amazing Tesla, before we get into how you got there, let's take it back to the beginning. Can you tell me, what was it like for little Jermaine growing up?
Oh, that wasn't good at all, man. That story is kind of, when I was about 8 years old, I realized when I was reading all the mail and stuff that my mom could barely read. So I didn't really get much help in school. So I was a little behind, like in third grade. Burlington Elementary, and I was around all my cousins, so I was always distracted. Then I switched to South Point, which is like 10 minutes away. And then I started making honor roll after that for all the distraction with my family. But yeah, like I said, I was in a slow reading class, all kinds of stuff, because I just didn't get no help. And then we went to high school, started playing basketball, got a little more confidence, had my little growth spurt. And I thought about real estate, but kind of like a side note. And then when I got in college, I took the classes my freshman year, like a 13-week course on the weekends. Got it, lost my driver's license for 2 years. 2 years. Now, I don't drink, but I couldn't afford insurance because I was poor. So they suspend your license, and I bumped into somebody with no insurance. That's an automatic year suspension. Gave me 12 points. So I forgot all about real estate. Finished college, worked for the railroad out of college. After college, I wanted to get into business sales to try to sell pharmaceuticals. So I did telecom sales. They wouldn't let me get into pharmaceuticals, my driving record.
Oh, wow.
I was like, dude, we're not giving you a company car, company credit card to pay your insurance, and you got 40 tickets. I was like, okay. So then I shifted gears and did new home sales. Loved the freedom. I was making half the money, eating ramen noodles.
So what do you mean by home sales?
New home sales.
Okay.
I worked for a builder.
Okay.
And it was commission only after 6 months, and I didn't sell a house. So I didn't get paid for a few months. And like I said, I was eating ramen noodles. But I was like, I have to figure this out because I love the freedom. So I made half the money that year. And then the following year, I kind of figured it out, started selling, and realized I was missing a lot of business because if they didn't want to buy Miranda, I just didn't get paid. So I started getting referrals, and they was like, we don't like Miranda. Then they buy an existing house or go to MI or somewhere like that. So 2011, actually they fired me. Wasn't the best employee, but I was good at sales. So then I got my license in April 2011. I ain't looked back.
Bro, that's awesome. It's a really eventful kind of timeline. So when you were a younger kid growing up, did you have a desire to become self-employed, or what was your initial kind of dream of what did you want to become?
I remember when I was little, being at the grocery store and seeing somebody with like a Lamborghini or something in a suit. So I was like, I want to be a businessman. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew the dude was dressed up in a suit, and obviously he's doing well. He had a Lamborghini, but just business. That's all I thought about was business, not an entrepreneur, because I had no clue what the dude did because I was too young to really understand it. But he looked important.
So it was you just wanted the reward, like the lifestyle, the freedom.
Lifestyle, yeah. I don't know if that guy was free or not, but he looked happy in that by that Lambo.
You did say you want to get a Lambo soon.
Yeah, that's one of my goals soon.
So, looking at those kind of people, did you automatically decide that real estate was going to be my ticket to becoming one of those people with a Lamborghini, or did you have some other idea at first?
When I was young, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. But when I was finishing college and working full time, I Googled what makes people rich. And Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, came up, and it was like real estate. Then I saw his name pop up a lot, so I read his book, and it changed my whole outlook on life. Then I wanted to know more about passive income, buying assets, all that stuff. And everybody that has money in real estate. I don't care if you're a millionaire in stock or a business, you always buy real estate to preserve your money. So since then, I started reading a bunch of his books, and then I knew real estate was what I wanted to do.
So how important do you think it is to invest in yourself? And you mentioned you were looking online, what makes people rich. You were kind of trying things out. How important is that in order for your success?
To me, is the most important thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of like if you want to help somebody, you got to help yourself first. If you want to be happy, if you want someone else to be happy, you got to make yourself happy so you can put yourself in a position to help them. So self-improvement is books, mentorship, all that stuff. Once you work on that and set goals, you're going to get to where you want to go. If you don't read any books and think you're just going to figure it out, that's how you got where you're at. Most people are broke or whatever it is. They got in that situation by thinking they're just going to figure it out on their own. Because that's how school teaches you. School's like, all right, no cheating, no nothing. You look at the test, you take it by yourself. But in the business world, I can ask 40 people what the answer is and then pick the best one. So a lot of people, they don't have that mindset. But working on yourself is by far the most important thing. And it was one of my biggest obstacles growing up poor. You have a poor man's mentality of money. You get it, you spend it. You literally think in your head you're not going to keep it. Something's going to happen, and it does. But after reading books and hearing stories about people who had it worse than you or whatever, you start believing, maybe I can. And then you start speaking the right language, and then you'll meet a mentor or somebody like that who's like, he's read this book, that book, I'm going to give him a shot. But if you don't read them books to get any new ideals, you're just going to hang out with the same broke people you would always.
So the people you surround yourself, not just, so when you surround yourself with the successful people, does it necessarily have to be people you know in person, or is it the same thing if you like look at it online?
I think at first you have to start with books, because I don't think you even have the confidence to go up to a successful person and ask them help. The mindset is if someone's successful, they're important, they ain't got time to help you, and rich people are stingy, they don't share their ideas, but that could be the farthest from the truth. Everybody I know that I've talked to who's had money, because I came to them, asked them questions, they was more than happy to tell me anything they could to help me get where I need to get. That's
awesome. So you're online searching for what you want to do to become a successful entrepreneur. You knew that you wanted to be something in business, just not necessarily what. And you found real estate. As you were looking at it, you found Robert Kiyosaki, and you were kind of dabbling in the real estate business. Did you have a specific goal that you were trying to attain, or was it kind of more vague?
When I first Googled it, I had no clue. It was just how you get rich. It said real estate. And I kind of knew I wanted to do something in real estate. I was drawn to it. That's why I took the classes in college before. But until I got new home sales and saw the freedom, because I felt like I never got a fair shot in corporate America. My attitude had something to do with it. My ethnicity had something else to do with what I feel. So it just didn't sit right or feel right when I was always working for someone making, $12 an hour? And they're changing and having me do all these extra things. And I'm like, this dude is probably making $100 an hour and he's giving me 12 and he's asking all this extra stuff and don't give me no more money. So I was the guy who would always do as least as possible to get my money. Once I realized that the company didn't care about me, which is corporate America, they can replace you. I didn't like that, so I would just do as least as possible.
Some people would call that efficiency.
Exactly. So that's why I looked at it. The companies that fired me didn't see it the same.
Well, so you knew that, you mentioned that guy was making $100 an hour. He was employing you. You knew that you wanted to be on that other side of the table.
Right. Just by reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, the cash flow quadrants. You got, employees, self-employees, and then you got business and investors. And B&I, business investors, that's people making money off other people. So when they're sleeping, they're making money. So everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. So I know if I work for someone at $25 an hour, whatever it is, I'm only going to make so much money. But if I'm...
Because you're limited by time.
Right. If I'm the business owner and I'm paying somebody $25 an hour, I'm probably making $50 or $75. Even if I'm making $10 more an hour, you get 10 people, you multiply it, you're making more than you would by yourself on an hourly rate. So
looking at that kind of perspective, and you mentioned that you were selling the new homes. When you said that you were starting to get referrals, and that was kind of your transition into becoming self-employed, was that an accident, or did you deliberately seek out referrals to kind of slowly get away from new homes?
I think it was an accident. It's like I said, I'm a sincere guy and try to do my best and help whoever I can. So I think that came through when people saw me negotiating on their best interest and doing everything I can to put them in a good situation. So naturally, in this world, if you do a good job, they'll refer you. And I always tell people real estate is about customer service and marketing. And when I worked for Moran, there wasn't much. They marketed, people come to my model, and I took care of everything else with the customer service. So I started getting a lot of referrals.
So getting those referrals, what did it take to get to the next level? Because I think in Columbus right now, there's maybe 8,500 realtors. And only a small percentage of them are making most of the money. Obviously, you're one of them. So what did it take to go from being just another realtor that sells 1 or 2 homes a year to becoming where you are now?
Well, one is you got to realize you don't know everything, and you got to be coachable. So as soon as I got in it, there was a guy who was he didn't know he was mentoring, but he was. He was telling me all this stuff he was doing with business. And as soon as I got my real estate license, he said, here's the thing, Jim, I got a buddy in Indiana who's making $300,000 a year. He's crushing. He played college football with me. Give him a call. So I called the guys like, hey, how you doing? Andy, this is Jermaine. So-and-so gave me your number. What are you doing? He's like, I'm doing buffeting. Calls, notes, and pop by. I mean, absolutely nothing to me. But essentially, it was a system. You make so many phone calls. So real estate's a contact sport. You make so many phone calls. You do pop bys, meaning you stop by and see so many people, and you do personal notes. So he said, I do those things, I make more money because I'm top of mind when I see my people. I send them a mailer every month on the 1st. I send them an email on the 15th. And then with the calls, notes, and pop bys, I'm touching my people, 50 to 100 times, 50, 75 times a year. Most agents send them a calendar or something like that and credit they call them. So by the activity of standing in front of people, all them people, he was selling a lot more. And then I got a coach. Finally, when I could afford one a few years later, I got a coach, and that changed everything.
Really?
Yeah, I was way more efficient. He gave me like templates to put my expenses in, my marketing calendar. I was already tracking my potentials, actives, pendings, and close, but that took it to a whole new level because he kept me more accountable. And then he said, Jermaine, I want you to do client parties. And I'm like, client parties? I don't know about client parties. And he let me go for a few months, and he said, Jermaine, we've talked about this several times. Make it happen. Next time we talk every 2 weeks for 30 minutes. He said, you better have the venue picked out. And I'm a movie guy. I love movies. So I went to the movie theater, talked to him, rented out a whole theater. I think it was like 125 people, 125 seats, because you got to buy the whole theater.
Yeah.
You got to buy every seat in there if you want your property. Yeah. So I did that. Paid for popcorn, pop, everything. It cost $1 gazillion.
When you were saying 125, I was like, there's no way it's $125.
125 seats.
Yeah,
you got to pay per ticket. Then I paid for all this stuff, and it cost me a lot of money. Because I was doing popcorn, pop, kid snack packs, and they would go through the line. I had my own little line, and they would get up there to get that. And like, and let me get some nachos and hot dogs. And I was entertaining everybody, so I didn't even realize what was happening. And then I found out, and I was like, what are you going to do? Tell everybody stop the line? So I decided to eat it, and yeah, it hit me. So the next time I reconfigured how I was going to do it. So I paid for popcorn because refills, kid snack packs, and they had the adults had to buy their own drinks. That way I could just prepay for everything, and then they wouldn't be going through and adding all this stuff. So that saved me like half my budget right there. But the client parties helped me out tremendously because once I did the client parties, I'm in contact with a lot more people, and you're giving back, and people feel like they're
building relationships.
Right. So now you have a real reason to call me. You're not just calling, give me a referral. You're like, I got something for you. Bring your kids. I want to entertain you. And then a lot of times people don't show up. They don't reply. Not everybody's going to come, right? But they appreciate it. They feel like they owe you. I would see someone 6 months later and they'd be, oh, man, Jermaine, I'm so sorry. Me and the family was out of town on vacation. We really wanted to come. We'll make the next one. And you could tell how sincere they was. So obviously, as soon as something comes up, who are they going to refer? Me. They ain't forgetting about me now.
Yeah.
So I do that. I did it like once that year, twice the next year, and I think last year I rented and moved out 5 times. And before this coronavirus, I was planning on doing like 7 to 8 times this year.
Wow. So a lot of realtors, and you mentioned this yourself, they rely on referrals.
Yeah.
A lot of realtors I meet, they say the same thing. What did you do in your real estate career to separate yourself from the other people? Because obviously you are relying on referrals too, but how did you do it differently?
Well, like I said, that system I just explained is contact. Like I said, most agents say they do referrals, but they don't stay in contact nowhere near as much as I do. Because a lot of people feel like they're going to be bothering people. But when you write personal notes, you give that personal touch, you do client parties. I don't know other agents that do that. I do pie pickups. I do ice cream socials. This year I was going to probably do something with Top Golf or bowling. I'm always trying to think of something else to do to give away. I'm a giver. I like giving. But I know I'm going to receive that back tenfold, so it's not an issue.
So that actually reminds me of Grant Cardone, his 10X rule. It's like pump it out, pump out the action, and it's going to really pile on. So going from that, you initially transitioned later on to insurance as well.
Right.
Why did you do that?
I know it's like the one thing is really I want to make my money, but insurance was a seamless transition because everybody that bought a house has to have homeowners insurance. And if you get in the house, you got auto insurance. So it's a way for me to help more people because I'm a broker. So I got like 50 companies I can use: Progressive, Grange, Murphy, Safeco. Usually when someone runs a quote, like if you're Allstate or State Farm or Farmers, you got one quote. That's your system. That's it. You win 10 to 15% of the time. But where I got 50 companies, I win 80% of the time. So I'm saving them money, which comes in handy a lot of times when you're getting a house because ratios may get tight or something. And I'm like, man, we need to come up with like extra $20, $30 a month to save them for the ratio because every $50 on a loan is like $10,000 more of house. So if you can save someone $50 a month or something like on the auto or whatever, they can save that somewhere else and it can help them get a house. Well, actually on the homeowners, the auto ain't going to help in the ratios, but any bit of money you can have, save them will help them be okay with spending that little bit extra to get the house that they want.
So was that part of also your plan to have passive income? Because I know Robert Kiyosaki really teaches passive income.
Oh, yeah. So it was a win-win. It was both ways. It was helping people because Jim Rohn said you can have anything in this world you want. You can help enough people get what they want. So by having the insurance company, I'm helping people with that. Now I have rental property, so if people always need somewhere to stay, so I'm helping them with that. But yeah, passive. I started focusing on passive probably about 3 years ago. So, when I got the insurance company. But yeah, that's like a retirement thing.
So this insurance thing, like you mentioned, is very closely related to the real estate. I know a lot of people, and I think I was a victim of this myself, of the shiny object syndrome, jumping around everywhere from one thing to another. With this, obviously, it was a natural transition. Did you ever struggle with that? And if you did, what did you do to overcome that?
What, been a big spender or spending too much?
The shiny object syndrome of like, oh, I want to try this because I saw people doing this in business, and then they see something else as they're trying it, and then they kind of drop that and go to another one. Or did you never have that? You was an agent. I wanted to get bigger, obviously, so you got to try marketing. When I got my coach, that's one thing. He was like, listen, you got to spend a third of what you make on your marketing. I'm like, what? I ain't spending that much money on marketing. He's like, trust me, you spend it. As long as you're making your money back, it makes sense. So it was hard to spend that money at first because most realtors, they don't know when they're going to get the next check. So they don't want to spend any money. Yeah,
but I was doing okay after a while. So then I started spending a lot of money on some stuff didn't work. Some stuff did. But now I know what does and doesn't work for me. And my client parties and staying in touch with put my money on my people works way better because that's a warm referral versus you get like a Boomtown lead or Zillow or whoever. Then people don't know you from Adam. You may show them 3-4 houses and they just disappear because they have no loyalty to you. They don't know nothing about you.
They don't owe you anything, quote unquote.
But if you're referred, it's like someone referring a doctor. Like, oh, this guy's pretty good. He drives a Tesla. He must know what he's doing.
He's Piata.
Yeah, he's Piata every day. So yeah, the shiny object thing, I think the Tesla is probably the biggest shiny object I got. But once again, to me, is marketing. And a lot of people go, oh, you're crazy. But I set a goal to get it. Me and my coach, we set a 2-year goal, and I got it within 18 months. But also it gave me instant credibility by getting that car. Now everybody knows he's doing decent. Plus, I told my goal was to make an extra $100,000 more than I was making before I could even buy the car. So the way I looked at it, I made that extra 100. I'm going to make that extra 100 every year now. So the person I had to become to get that car is paying me back tenfold. Because some people just look at an expensive car. I'm like, no. You know, I had to sit there and map out a plan and do different things and try things to make more money, read more books, go to more conferences. Like I said, grow Not think I know everything. Talk to other people about their business, how their business got so big, and I pretty much doubled my income that year when I went within that year.
So it wasn't so much of an end goal. I want this car. It was actually a means to an end. To something so much greater.
Exactly. Whatever motivates you. You know, some people are content, but you always need something to motivate you. Like Robert Kiyosaki said, he said, buy an asset to pay for your liabilities. And the asset was learning how to make a lot of extra money to pay for that. That's going to pay every year and year and year and year over again. So talking about growing yourself and upgrading yourself, how did you face failure? Obviously, you had to go through the 2008 financial crisis. I'm sure you had other struggles too. How do you face these failures? Do you kind of turn back to your motivations, or what do you do? You gotta remember your main goal, kind of like a mission statement, what you want out of life. Because everything like always go right for you. So by reading books, it kind of helped me. They're like, listen, every millionaire I know, not everyone, but most millionaires, like high percent, over 50%, 60%, have filed bankruptcy. So they've all failed. But you have to have the same enthusiasm once you fail something. You just understand it's just part of the process. And you know so much more now that you tried it and it didn't work. The next time you try it, it's probably going to work. And if it don't, the next time it'll work. It's just like a basketball player as a shooter, like Steph Curry. Greatest shooter ever. But he'll have a night he goes over 10. And then they have a night where he hits 10 out of 13. But he keeps shooting. He don't stop shooting. He knows he's the best ever. He keeps shooting.
That kind of consistency of action.
So it's the mindset. Most people, they fail at something, don't go where they want. It didn't work. They're done. But an entrepreneur, when it don't work, you think, okay, what happened? Why didn't it work? I'll give you an example. Stock. I knew nothing about stock. Someone was like, get some stock. So I put a decent amount in stock, and I lost probably 70% of it. And I was like, man, but I over leveraged myself. I tried to hit home runs. Everybody told me not to, but I'm smart. I got this. But essentially, I sat out the market for a year and watched all the stocks that I had to sell because of my margin call, and I was right on 80% of them. I just didn't hold them long enough. So then I went back in and put some more money in there, like a year or two later, and then I made 125%. So I made all my money back plus like another 50%. So I looked at it like I lost that money, but it was like paying for a year of college. That's what I looked at. It's experience. You can't. Robert Kiyosaki said you can read every book in the world. You're never going to know it until you do it.
So you got to try it, and essentially, failure is essential to success.
If you want to be successful faster, fail 4 times as fast. Do more things faster. Take more risks faster, and I promise you'll learn.
That also goes back to the mentality of getting over your failure, obviously learning from it, but moving on and continuing to move forward.
Yeah, it's mindset. Like I said, now it looks like everything turns to gold, but obviously back in the day it wasn't like that. But once I failed, I was like, okay, what I got to do now? What happened? What I got to do now? Let's reboot it. Let's do something else. And when in real estate, when you first start, you don't have that many clients. You don't know what's going on. I remember my first year, my son's mom she would go to work. She'd come back. I'd be sleeping on the couch. Because I had no clients. I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sitting there waiting. I only had like 20 people in my database that I started with. You can only send so many calls, notes, and pop by. And she come home and sleep. To this day, I think his mom still thinks I have a part-time job. I'm a lot more busy now, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
so.
You're still at home.
Yeah, I still get to come and go as I please.
So you mentioned earlier that you kind of grew up in a not-so-pleasant situation. Right. Growing up and working through that, how much of your motivation came from trying to prove to yourself that you were not where you grew up, or was there some aspect of that?
It's kind of like one of them things where they say in your family, someone's got to be that person that changes the family tree. So that was kind of my motivation. Like back home, my family has that allure of everybody sells drugs and does this and does that. I was like, that's why I never smoked, never drank. I wanted to be different. I couldn't have any side distractions to get me off course of what I wanted to do. And I knew those vices would deter me and take me a lot longer. I couldn't chance it.
Only a really wise person can do that, because they can look at other people's mistakes, learn from them, not do them themselves, and kind of go around them. That's awesome. So today, Jermaine, what is your motivation? Has it changed? Is it different? Or is it still the same?
Now it's my son. It's generational wealth. So whatever he wants to do, now that I know enough business people, I feel once he gets of age, whatever his passion is, we'll just start a business in that.
So you're gonna give him what you might have not had when you were his age.
He'll have a mentor. He has a mentor now. We're already talking about assets and liabilities. We play the game Cash Flow, the Robert Kiyosaki game. I have him playing that. We go over examples of how to make money. Actually, for his birthday, you're going to give him some money. We're going to buy some stock. I know he's about to turn 9, but he's going to learn at an early age how money works.
So you're going to give him that experience. You're going to teach him so that when he grows up to be your age, he's going to have a platform to jump off even higher.
Oh, yeah, huge. And that's my main one. Once you have a kid, it changes everything. Like, I was motivated, but I kind of was lacking that thing to get me over the hump. But once you have something that you love more than yourself to give you that extra motivation, that it makes you jump. And that's my thing. Everything I do, I figure if I become the best version of me, I can help him become the best version of him. Me and another entrepreneur were talking, is like, what if your son can figure out what he's good at 10 and start honing them skills of what he wants to be?
That would be crazy.
I was like, yeah, because I didn't find out till I was 30. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I was good with people and numbers. So real estate works great for that, and so does being an entrepreneur, starting other businesses and stuff like that. Because business, it's numbers, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is communication and culture and making everybody mesh together.
Yeah.
That's a lot harder than people think. It's a lot harder than people think.
Yeah. That's awesome. So if you could go back in time to maybe when you were 8 or 9, maybe a little bit older, what would you tell your younger self knowing what you know now?
I would start reading books about self-improvement. Like my son, I had him read a book. It's over on the counter. It's how successful people think. I was like, he don't need to be reading that right now. Yes, he does. Because I want him to already start thinking like this. So when he's 13, 15, he starts his own business, do whatever, kind of like you. I know you had business when I met you at 17. I'm like, what in the world? So, but you learned that kind of from your dad. You saw he did it, and that's how I want my son to do it. I don't want him to work for anybody. I want him to be his own boss from day one. Don't want him to get used to getting a paycheck. I want him to be used to making profits are better than wages. So I want him to learn that early.
Do you have any books you would recommend?
Yeah, I got a bunch of books, but I'll just give you the first few. The very first book I read was The Magic of Thinking Big. I was somebody told me about Amway, Quick Stars, like a network marketing thing. I had no clue what I was doing. They just told me I'd be rich. I'm like, bet, let's do it.
Well, who's it by?
Oh, the book. Oh, I don't know the author's name, but I just remember I read it out of principle, out of respect for this lady called Martha Michaud. And I sat it down, forgot, and then like 2 years later, someone ain't seen me in a long time. It's like, man, you've changed. I'm like, what are you talking about? It was like, you never get sick. You don't make excuses. You're always smiling. I was like, man, I was in that book. And then the light bulb went off. I was like, there's something to this reading stuff. Because no one likes reading out of high school. It's like, reading? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
But I read that book, and then, like I said, I started reading a lot more after that. And then I ran into Robert Kiyosaki. But Magic of Thinking Big, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and The Richest Man in Babylon.
That's a good one.
Those are the 4 books I think is a good base to get you going. Of course, after that, you have to always be reading. At least a book a month. At least that. Because if you can read a book a month, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but in 3 years of 36 books, that's way more than the average person. It's like having a master's degree where I look at it.
I mean, that's very important. You're basically learning from other people's experiences all over again.
Yeah, and it keeps you motivated and lets you know, man, I'm over here crying about this little pity thing going on, and they went through some real stuff, like like the Great Depression or war, or lost everything, or parents beat them and they almost died, or got in a car wreck, paralyzed, don't have no arms, no legs, whatever it may be. You're like, oh, okay, my stuff.
They have some lessons to teach.
Yeah.
So before we finish up and play our little game, do you have anything else you want to add on to the audience? Somebody that might be listening, maybe in a similar situation from where you came, something that you wanted them to know?
I think I kind of hit on, like I said, people don't understand the importance of books. And I understand some people don't like reading. You get Audibles now. They read it to you. It's $15 a month. I pay for, you get 2 credits with Audible, which is an Amazon. That's their app for books. I get 2 every month and try to listen to at least 2. Listen to like Tony Robbins and people like that, because that will help you get to that next level.
Well, awesome. Well, before we finish up, I want to play a little game. The way it works is I'm going to say 5 words. And each time I say the word, you say the first thing that comes to your mind. The only rule is that you can't repeat yourself more than once.
I'm in sales. We got to say stuff twice sometimes.
Roman, could you give me my phone so I can get the words? I don't want to mess it up.
It's getting serious in here now.
I wonder who's going to win this one.
Well, I'm not going to...
He's already cheating. You know what I'm saying? He's already cheating, man.
You want me to get your phone too?
Yeah. I'll ask Alexa that question.
Okay, so the first word is family.
Love.
Foundation.
Foundation. Legacy.
Legacy.
Legacy. My son, Jaden.
Failure.
Fail as much as you can. So one word for failure. You can't say don't be afraid of it. But failure, it happens.
And the last one is money.
Money, game.
Game.
Money's a game to me. I remember, I don't know who I was reading, but they said at the end of the day, money's nothing more than the game. You can create money out of thin air. If you have a good enough ideal, you can make money. Because most people attach it to, I'm here working. Now I attach it to, who can I help? What can I charge them? Make it fair. And stuff just is abundant now. Money's abundant, and there's nothing more in the game. It's how to keep score.
Yeah, so you connect people, you make relationships, and within that, the money flows.
Yeah, and you learn. Because the more I know and learn, the more I can help someone else, the more they'll refer me, or by me helping them do something down the road, they're going to ask me for money or whatever it is, and I can partner with them and, get a good return. I invest in people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jermaine. Thank you for joining me on this interview. It was a pleasure getting to hear your story, your unique story. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you, Tim, as always, man. You're a rock star.
You too.